Hello there, folks. There are new potatoes in that there bed. I've also cleared off the two beds at the back there because they were getting overgrown by these brambles. I'm calling them brambles because they haven't produced much fruit this year. They're supposed to be raspberries and blackberries, but I've a good strong suspicion that these will be coming out this year because they're not really producing that much, and there's tons of blackberries on the lane and all around if you want blackberries. So certainly this bed's going to be cleared out. I think they're just a pain. They're a pain in the backside, so they're coming out. These ones haven't been too clever of late, so I might take these out and replant with fresh. I'm thinking about what to do here because we've got club root issues in a couple of these beds. I'm going to have to leave them fallow for a bit like we have done with this one. I think these are going to be for onions and garlic this year, both beds overwintered. But these two, I'm not 100% sure. I'll just show you down here. I've just cleared the pathway. And there's the bramble overgrowth. As you can see, it's still creeping up there. Underneath there are new potatoes. You can see the odd one popping up. Look at that weed. That's a stinging nettle. And that's more raspberry that's creeping under. Look at that. Raspberry rhizomes creeping under. So there'll be an absolute pain to actually dig out them. I sound a bit despondent there, don't I? But I'm not really. I just need to clear them out, and I need to use these for veggie growing. Looking at that cage and how successful it's been this last year, I've got a sort of half of an idea of doing it with these here, but doing a smaller one above these. Potentially. I don't know. It's all money, isn't it? I know that was only like 230 odd quid, but it's still money, isn't it? And we ain't got the money, unfortunately, to blow like that. But there's spuds in these here beds and there's spuds in that here bed. I'm just going to clear the weeds off from the top of this and then we'll see what we've got underneath. They're all new potatoes in here. So let's have a look. So out of, say, 18 seed potatoes that were kind of, we'll say, duck egg size that went into that bed, I'd expect about 180 back of a similar size, to be honest. But I did notice that they only grew for about 10 weeks and the results have been absolutely shocking. Have a look at this. That's all we've got out of that bed, out of this bed. Absolutely atrocious, that. Most of them, I would say about 80% of them, are tiny, and I mean tiny, like that. There's probably maybe 20 or so that you would consider to be decent. The rest of them are appalling. I took out about a quarter of the bed. So that's about 3/4 of what was in that 8 foot by 4 foot bed. And I can't for the life of me think what went wrong with them. But they did die off early. So I don't know why though. Because the weather's not been that bad. You know what I mean? It's not been atrocious, the weather. We have had quite a bit of rain and that beat them down about 6 weeks ago. Killed them off, I suppose. Bizarre though, that. Never had such crap results. We've been growing, that might be it actually, probably been growing spuds in that bed for too long, but I can't see, on them there's no marks on them. You know, the condition is good. So it's not like they're diseased or overly scabby. You know, wireworm, stuff like that, I can't see any. I began to think that I hadn't put any feed in, but I'm sure I have. I'm sure I did put feed in. I'm sure I put blood, fish and bone in. But that's all I put in, blood, fish and bone. You know, like a handful. Maybe there wasn't enough feed. Might try and put some more nitrogen in again next time, because when we did the buckets, there was like a half handful of nitrogen that went in the form of the chicken manure, and then a full handful of the blood, fish and bone. And what I've got there is probably about the same as what I would get out of like sort of five of the buckets. So 5 seed potatoes, I'd probably expect to get that, and I did. Although they weren't so spectacular this year. Might be the weather conditions. I've looked online over the last few weeks and seen some spud reveals, and they haven't been that brilliant. On the whole, the potato harvest this year in the UK has not been fantastic. But we've always had good results. Certainly a lot better than that. I think the worst I would have expected was about twice as much as that. Out of that bed. It's never really let me down, that bed, before. We've had decent results out of it. Answers on a postcard or in the comments below what you think might have occurred there for such a... I nearly swore then. Such a poor crop. See you in a bit. Let's check one of the other beds actually. One of the beds I've cleared. See if we get anything better out of that one. So in this bed, as you can see on the Lady Farmer's side, I think they're all Charlotte, but I'm not 100% sure. I know for certain this side was Charlotte. They might all be Charlotte really, innit? I just can't find the other label, if there was another label. And as you can see there, it's been half excavated already previously. This was just overgrown with all these brambles. So I'm going to check what's underneath there. That's 5 foot by 4 foot, that bed. 5 by 4 or thereabouts. So really we're looking at 10 square feet of spuds to be excavated, or thereabouts. Whereas that one, which is an 8 by 4, had 4 eighths 32 square feet, but you could knock about 6 square feet off, something like that. We'll call it 28 square feet and this 10 square feet, see what the difference is. Yeah, so it wasn't just the Charlotte in there was the Saxon as well. In fact, I would say 2/3 Saxon and about 1/3 Charlotte. So there's only about 3 plants of the Charlotte and probably around about 5 or 6 plants of the Saxon. But it's a bit better yield wise, slightly better I would say. Yeah. So there's probably about half as much there of the Charlotte and Saxon, you just make it out just about, than there was in a good 3/4 of that bed. Half of that bed has yielded that, and there's about half as much. So I would say it's better. I would say it's probably about 60 or 70% better by yield than that bed, which is odd, isn't it? Strange. Again, they're not as good as I would have hoped. I would have hoped for about twice that. But we can all hope, can't we? We can all hope. Doesn't mean it's going to come true, though. Yeah. It is what it is. Some years you get bumper years, some years you get alright years, some years you get crap years. In the buckets, they were sort of in the middle. Out in the beds, a little bit less than usual. In the big bed, terrible. Disgraceful behaviour from that bed. Shocking. I'm going to cheer myself up and see if we've got any cucumbers on. Alright. Yeah, there's some cukes on. Nice ones there at the back, actually. There's a long look at that one. It's not a bad one. And these are good. There. Probably not getting a good sharp focus on this, are we? Oh, that's a decent size. Look at that one. That's a widow's delight, isn't it? We've had some crackers off here. Over the last sort of 8 weeks, really, we've been taking cucumbers from the Lady Farmer's greenhouse. Kind of coming to the end of it now. They're starting to die back a bit. I might give them one more feed and see if it revives them a little bit, but yeah, we're coming to the end of it now with these. They don't last forever, but when they do come, they come nice. I pulled that one off as well before, this little one. but they don't have the same sort of vibrancy, and I think that might be a feed issue. That I think I need to get more feed on them. Give them the comfrey. They only had one dose of the comfrey, I think. That's what's up. I'll give them another dose all around. Let's see what I've got cucumber wise. Just taking off some of those cherry tomatoes there. There's the Sun Gold, plenty of Sun Gold, and Super Sweet 100 red cherry. I'm just going to prune them now and just get rid of all the excess foliage. Now with tomato plants, even though you trim out the suckers that grow in the elbows, you do get continual sprouting going on in the most weird and wonderful places. If you look at that one, that's coming off from the end of a vine. That's the vine coming off from the main plant, and that sucker is coming off from the end of that vine. These are not going to come to anything, I don't think, these on the ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip those out, because they're taking valuable nutrients from the plant. Be careful I don't knock the bloody tomatoes off that are set. There's a chance for these to get pollinated. These are already pollinated, but they're green. So these are an intermittent plant where you'll get a harvest, hopefully, for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And it starts off about, what, 4 or 5 weeks ago it started off with the harvesting. And you get more proliferation as they grow up. And because I stemmed them out at the top to stop them growing any further up, they tend to bush out and set fruit, which is what's happened here. But you've got to keep an eye on all the time for these little cheeky monkeys. Popping out hither and dither, like this one, and look at that one there. That's a whopper. That's a whopping side shoot, that, which I'm going to snip out right now. Cut that off. You just got to be careful that you don't get the actual fruiting vines when you're doing your trimming. And as you can see, the ones that are nearest to the doorway here are getting a bit of leaf curl by the look of it, whereas the ones more central aren't getting that leaf curl. So I'm thinking that might be the cold conditions at night that's doing that. The colder conditions, because it does drop down to about 8 or 9 at night this time of year. That's in Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, unfortunately, guys, but it's gonna be cooler of a night, basically. You can see there a lot of them have started to drop off close to where the door is, so the wind's getting to them as well. The coldness, the chill, and the wind factor. So I'm going to close that door tonight, but I'm going to work my way through these and thin them out, get rid of a lot of this excess foliage and unwanted growth. So it's a pretty severe haircut there, especially on those plum tomatoes. What that will do though is concentrate the plant's energy on the fruit, so hopefully they'll be ripening up. They're also clearing away that foliage, that excess leaf, is going to allow the sunlight to get through to the fruits and assist in the ripening. We've only had about 5 of the plum tomatoes off that so far, off them 2 plants. And we've got probably, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 15 plum tomatoes on there. So I'm going to have to look into that to see where I was going wrong, and I think I've let it run to bush instead of pruning it like I should have done, or like I've done with these ones and keeping them single stemmed. I'm not sure about the plum tomatoes. I'm going to have to look into the plums. First time we've ever grown plum tomatoes, so you'll have to bear with me on that. But I'm going to shut that door tonight and keep a bit of the warmth in, keep that wind chill off them. See, there's another one. Another sucker that's coming out. Got to keep my eye on these suckers because there's plenty on that one. They don't seem to be coming off from the main stem. They seem to be coming off from where you get the branching off. And a lot of them are coming off from where the vines are. I took 3 off, I think yesterday, from the vining stems. But you can see there's a couple more at the back there, which I may well prune off. I don't want them getting up there. I want them off. I don't want them touching this. Ideally, I didn't want them touching the sides where the door is, to be honest. But they don't seem to be too badly affected by that. This one's the same. Bushing out, see, and vining at the top. So fingers crossed, we are going to get more fruits coming on. But they do definitely, I believe, need a feed. So I'm going to close that window, give them a feed tomorrow with the comfrey, and see what occurs. And as ever, keep growing with your heads down. Again, there's 6 more decent cucumbers there to take home. There's a few of them that are getting yellow, and I think that's a nutrient thing, or just the age of the plant. The fat ones there are yellow, which isn't as appealing, isn't as attractive. I like the vibrant green. But you can't always get what you want, can you, kids? There's still a few coming on, cukes, and they're still flowering. So I think with feed, and I think I'll take better care to close these off and leave them closed off now the nights are getting darker and it's getting a bit cooler. Those are the pepper plants which didn't do very well at all at the front. Got bell peppers there which they produce little tiny ones. Don't look at that, please. You can look at it, but just believe me that what we're doing with these are just old containers, these, and we fill them up with the comfrey. I'll show you that tomorrow, actually, the comfrey, because I'll start some more off and get that ready for next year, or back end of this year. Last batch. The comfrey feed, which is free comfrey feed. We like to use free stuff, and that's a free feed. Comfrey, very good for fruiting plants. Comfrey, quite good all round, really, comfrey. But from the brassicas, even though I didn't do it this year, I just used what we had in the ground. So we prepared the soil very well this year in the brassica cage. Lots of horse manure, well rotted horse manure. Our homegrown compost and chicken manure, and it did fantastically well. What was I saying then? Yeah, stinging nettle feed is good because it's got quite a lot of nitrogen in it. That's good for your brassicas, your leafy greens and stuff like that. Whereas comfrey is better for tomatoes and your peppers and cucumbers and things. Tends to be anyway. Look at Jolo, the wise old elf. He'll tell you all about that, the comfrey. And we'll be showing you that tomorrow. So cheeky tunnel number 2 is all closed up now to protect my tomatoes. They've had a right good haircut, them tomatoes, as you can see there, but I think it's necessary. You can't leave it overly abundant, really, with foliage or even blossom this time of year. It just detracts from the ripening up of what you've got. You'll end up getting a poor crop. So I'm going to take now what we've harvested back to the homestead, and the kids are going to devour those tomatoes and cucumbers over the next couple of days. I'll guarantee you that. Whereas the potatoes we'll get about 5 or 6 weeks out of. I've still got probably, hopefully, 20 spud plants in the ground of the new potato variety in different beds, 2 different beds. And I've also got I think it's around about 16 of the Morris Piper main croppers up in the top bed, which I'm going to leave in until we need them. You know, dig them up when we need them. I'm going to try and leave some in until Christmas, so we can have some Christmas new potatoes from the plots. We did it last year, we did it the year before, managed it. The Vivaldi, I think they were, did the best, and they were like brand new when they were coming out of the ground. They'll have a mark on them. But we'll see how we get on. Keep growing with your head down, boys and girls, and we'll catch you later on. I'll probably see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you in the week. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. This has been Good and Mafinda signing out. If you're a lady, you've been beautiful, fantastic and fragrant. If you're a gentleman, you've been forthright, virile and masculine. But whatever you've been, we love you. Even if you're something in between. We love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Keep growing with your heads down. Ta-da.